What's up, guys? Welcome to the first 3M podcast. My name is Reiners.
And my name is Antoine. Today we're going to be talking with one of the best salesmen in Latvia. His name is Gabriel. Gabriel, how much did you make the last 6 months working in one of the biggest marketing agencies in Latvia?
Yeah, my last 6 months with my previous company, I generated over 180,000 in cash collected in a Latvian company, selling to Latvian and to European entrepreneurs. 180,000.
Okay, so how did you get to this point? What was the journey?
Yeah, man. It started actually 4 years ago. Back in the day, there was an Instagram. Back in the day, there was these Instagram posts where they were like, hey, 5, 8, 10 high income skills. There was coding, marketing, presenting, and one of them was sales. And as already in school times, I was very keen on speaking on stages, doing presentations. So I knew sales was my thing. And then one day I just saw an ad in Facebook ad where there was this crazy, very popular guy within marketing in Latvia saying, hey man, you're a young guy who wants to make money, come to me and work with me. So I did. I was at the time 18 years old. I went on an interview with him, sat down and was like, hey man, I don't know anything about sales, but I'm willing to put in my work, my effort. Just take me. And he was like, all right, let's go. And I think this is a super important thing for anyone watching who is new, that just with your grit and your
Perspicacity.
perspicacity and you wanting to work, that can outweigh your lack of skill. So if you don't have skill, you can outweigh that by just working more and wanting to commit. So that was me, and then he said yes, and I said, oh no, I actually can start because at that point I still had school. So 3 months after that, I started to work with him, and fast forward 4 years, now I'm here speaking with you.
Yeah, so already early you had that interest in sales, which is not a common thing, right? Well, maybe you could explain to the viewers how important is sales, would you say, to any business, any company?
Yeah, man, sales is everything. And sales is not just me selling physically my product or service. It's me selling myself to anyone. It's me selling myself to my girlfriend. It's me selling myself to my mother, to my aunt, and to my brother. To be honest, guys, sales has tremendously helped me to improve my relationships, because I just understood how people think, what's important for them, and how they make decisions. So yeah, I was interested in sales. I was actually interested in psychology from a very young age. I wanted to become a psychologist when I was 16 or 15 years old. I actually went to university for that, but then of course I dropped out, and then I became a citizen.
Why did you say of course?
Of course, because I started to make money with sales and I saw myself there. That's why I dropped out. I didn't even go to the first day of university. I was like, nah, this is not for me.
I mean, that's kind of a psychology too. And have you ever tried to sell a girl on a date, like you would be trying to close a deal?
Yeah, I think God bless, I have a beautiful girlfriend now. We are really, really, really strong together. But maybe 3 years ago, I was trying to do a couple of things to be like, hey, I don't need you, you need me, because in sales it works the same way. The person who is more willing to walk away will always have the authority in the conversation, right? One who is willing to walk away can dictate how the cooperation is going to go. That's what I've seen from my experience. But yeah, I've done that 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say you're an 18-year-old guy, you just got out of high school, and you're looking to sell maybe something you already know, you have some experience, I don't know, web design, maybe editing, maybe anything that's digital, or maybe even product creation, manufacturing, whatever it is. How would you go? Let's say you have a product or an offer. How would you go to start selling that if you have zero skills?
And this might sound controversial, I wouldn't actually start my own business. I would actually just start and find the best guys within the industry and go just work with them. because that has been for me the biggest growth. But I just was working with a guy that was in top of the industry, specifically within marketing. I understood how the internal processes work. I understood how the sales work, how marketing works, how everything works, and that really set the foundation for me now after quitting that job for 4 years to do something on my own. So what do I mean by that? It would take me a lot of years, a lot of pain and money to understand it myself, but I just went in a company, got paid, and I was learning, so that really skyrocketed my growth. And also the time when I invested into myself, first investment it was 400 and it was 500. Now the last investment did myself was of 3,000 euros. All of those people, they are ahead of me, and I just paid them to bridge the gap. That makes sense.
Can you tell us a bit more about the investment?
Yeah. So the first guy that invested in myself, it was for sales coach. He was from Latvia. Great guy, but at that point I didn't have the mindset, everything behind that. The second guy was a Christian Jack. Shout out Sales Dojo. I paid him 500 euros so he can support me via Telegram, so I can ask him questions. That was the biggest breakthrough, because he helped me to understand that it's not about sales or scripts or what you say on the call. It's more about what kind of person you are, how you present yourself, and what do you have going outside of sales. And I think, guys, this is the biggest learning that has helped me to scale my own life. It's not about what you do on those sales calls, it's what you do outside of sales calls. How do you speak to your parents? How do you treat yourself? Do you treat yourself? How do you eat? How do you sleep? And how do you truly do the things that you promise yourself to do? Being my best version outside of sales gave me so much confidence that it just, like a shining light, went to my prospects, and then they just felt it, and then they started to buy. So they bought because of my internal, let's say, state or energy, not because of I know how to mumbo jumbo ninja objection handle, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. And what you're saying is basically you find a mentor that is far ahead in where you want to go, and then you just learn from them. But going back to that theory, let's say you're 18-year-old, you want to start doing something, and now I need to find a mentor. Where would you look for a mentor if you would be starting now?
Yeah. So
that's a great question.
So to be honest, it's really hard to be like someone. I've never had my experience when I had somebody, I want to be mentored by you, let me buy you a coffee or something like that. I've heard that people in media, let's go on coffee speak. I've never done that. I don't know how it works. Maybe. What has worked for me the best is I just went in a different organizations and events in there. I met mentors, but the biggest mentors for me were when I was working in a specific offer in a job. There I met mentors. Other mentors I met where I paid to get into. So the 3,000 euro mentorship that I invested myself into, there I got myself a mentor, right? And if somebody's thinking, I don't have friends that are the next level, you have to be in places where they are. And typically you can get to those places by paying. How you can pay a networking event, pay some kind of mentorship, pay a more important event, school, like some kind of place or school. Just invest into yourself and you'll be able to access people. Yeah.
Okay, so one question. Let's say I'm located in Georgia, right? I'm 17 years old. Maybe I'm finishing up school, and now I just saw the podcast, and I'm like, okay, so I'm not gonna sell this product. I'm gonna go search for somebody that could teach me something. I know that I've had problems with finding good networking events, and let's say he goes on, as you mentioned, to search for a job offer, right? How would you go about this? I mean, let's say I open up LinkedIn, I'm searching for some jobs or whatever the website is in that country. I just type in, and I'm at the computer, I don't know what to type in. What's like the thought process when you're searching?
Totally.
If we're looking towards more the job aspect of it, not the networking aspect.
Totally. So basically, how to find a job? How would I go about it?
Yeah, one that could actually bring you some knowledge in the future.
Yeah, and it's interesting that like Hormoti talks about this, is that there are stages in your life where you either are earning or you're learning, right? So if we talk about somebody who is new, 16, 17, 18, you can expect to earn a lot. So it's okay to eat, shit. It's okay to not earn in the beginning. It's all about what kind of things you can learn. So back to your question, Antoine. So Antoine, there are many places in every country where there is like a website where you can find like job listings. We have SSCon, then there are like other ones, but in there just look up the top companies, see whether they have vacancies and apply to them. Just go through the normal process and what you can do to stand out. Number one, it is to call them up and say that you have applied and say that you're really looking forward to speaking to them. And second thing, create a Loom or some other personalized video to the specific owner that you're going to be speaking to, or to the HR, talking about how you can specifically help that company, how you're ambitious, how you're willing to learn and to work, and send that to him either via email before the interview or after the interview in the email or in the LinkedIn, because it will really help you stand out. Because if you take a look at 10, 15, 20 candidates, like, let's be honest, like, they're not doing that, right? So if you're really serious about that, then just make an extra effort, show that you're serious, and that's how you'll have a lot of doors open.
And for all the young people that are looking for jobs, there are a lot of opportunities, but there are also a lot of bad opportunities. So maybe, Gabriel, you could share some red flags that you could find in a company you could like immediately notice that you should avoid.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I say, like, one of the biggest red flags is just like very simply, if you have to pay to get in, that's something that I would try to avoid. If you have to pay to get in a job, that's always like a red flag for me. That's the first thing. On the other hand, when you're young, it's just like you have to take every chance you get, right? Just go to the job, work for a week, work for 1, 2, 3 months, or 1, 2 years. See what you like, see what you don't like. I think at that age, it's more about just testing and see what you like, what you don't like, because you will know your own red flags. The other day, I was in a company for a week after I went away for my 4-year contract. And within the first 2 days, I was speaking with you about this Chedid. I just didn't like the owner. Remember?
Yeah.
It was the dog food company. We just didn't click, right? And that's when I knew, okay, this is what I don't want. That's a red flag for me.
What was it specifically? Was it like ignorance? Was it not paying attention to details?
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I just didn't feel like he had this type of energy and this drive and this openness. Yeah, the dog in him that I see in you, or currently I have two other colleagues that I'm working with. They have that dog in him. That's why I like to work with you or with your guys, with Robert or Rodrigo, because they are motivated. They have the thing that the other guy who is 40 doesn't have, which is interesting. That's why I would rather work with somebody who is more motivated, who is more driven, who has this fire in his eyes, rather than somebody who just has money and can give me money.
Yeah, and that's a very important point, that anything you do, you have to find that thing that gives you that drive. Because if you're gonna go around and try all the things that somebody else told you and you're not interested in them, then people are gonna see that you don't have that spark in you.
Yeah, as well, we're all guys that fight, and one of the things I've noticed in my experience with fighting was that in a specific gym, you know that maybe you're feeling, if you have the doubts or the thoughts about the gym not being, or the job not being, not having people around that are, with this energy that they don't want to just win, but they want to be the best, right, in the category. Maybe it's time to find another place, because there's always going to be some teams that are ready to go maximum level, and that's where you need to be, right? So don't be okay with staying with maybe like with a CEO or even an MMA team that they're just chilling. Nobody's really going to big events, nobody's really making big bucks, then that's not really the place you want to be at. You want to be learning from people that actually have achieved things, actually have some knowledge. And my next question, what would you say would be the main thing? Well, coming back a bit more into the sales part, we know that you've done a lot of sales calls, right? How many sales calls have you done?
I think around 1,500.
1,500 sales calls. That's crazy. So throughout these 1,500 sales calls, could you name me 2 or 3 main things that help and 2, 3 things that are the biggest mistakes?
2 things that have helped. So I would definitely start with is that you just have to know the process. So what do I mean by that? You have to learn the script, you have to learn the objection handling, you just have to be really sharp on that. Because if you're just thinking, or if there's no fundamentals, then you can't get creative, you can't be in the flow. Like imagine if you don't know how to throw a punch, you're going to get wrecked in the first couple of seconds. It's the same with sales. If you don't know the fundamentals of how to pitch, how to ask the right questions, then you can't get into the flow of the conversation and be real with the prospect. Because that's the worst thing that can happen. If you're just reading from the script, the person on the other side feels that, he doesn't like it. People buy from people they can trust. And if you're reading from a script, it's like, oh, you try to sell me, the trust is broken.
What's the script?
The script?
Yeah.
So it is the word tracks or the wording structure that you use to move the sale forward. So when you have the initial call or before the call, that's what I mean by script.
All right.
Yeah. So that's number one, to know the process. The second thing is the ability to listen. People will tell you what they want. You just have to hear it. And it goes back to my first thing. If you are reading from the script, you are not listening to the person, right? And I've had numerous times after I have reviewed my own sales calls, I just didn't listen. I just didn't listen to what prospect said. I pitched him what I think he needed, but not what he said to me he needed. So like listening, and the third thing, I would just really push it on. Like it's not about, like, I truly feel like it's not about what you do in the ring. It's what you do outside of the ring that will make you successful. It's not about what you do within the sales call. It's what you do outside of the sales call. How you sleep, how you eat, how you think of yourself. What's your self perception? Do you believe in yourself? All of those things that will help you to be that salesperson or in any other endeavor regarding that sales. Okay.
Yeah, definitely, and listening to anyone when you ask questions is a big takeaway. And going back to the sales call script, let's say you complete the script, you push it where you want it to go. What do you do after the person says yes? What do you do after that?
Yeah. So after a person says yes, the most important thing to make it super simple. To not get into the details, how the things will process and everything, because after the person has said yes, the most important thing is just to move the sale forward.
So it would be the payment.
It would be the payment, making sure he understands the right. So if he talk about it, okay, yeah, I want to move forward. Are you sure? Yes. So the next steps are, we're going to process the investment with me. After that, we're going to schedule, let's say we're talking about your business. After that, we're going to schedule a quick 45-minute script and production session so that we can plan a filming day.
Yeah.
So that in the next 10 to 14 days, you're already going to have your first videos made and first potential clients coming. How does that sound? Sounds good? Perfect. How do you want to take care of the payment? MasterCard, Visa, what do you use? Yeah.
Okay, so actually, one thing that you didn't mention that I thought was very valuable,
Yes.
that we've talked before. Why would you say after a prospect says yes, why wouldn't you go into details about things? Why do you wanna, after the yes, go directly to the payment?
Yeah. So if you have truly said everything about the process and the prospect doesn't have no question, just get to the payment. It's what the conversation is about, to get to the payment. If you tell about other things, right, it just creates more friction.
What do you mean by that?
Friction, it's when there are just more things that could go wrong.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Working from the end goal, right? That you already have the system in place of knowing like the end result, what you're gonna do. So once they say yes, you already have the link ready, right? You already have the steps they're gonna take.
Yeah.
You have the further thing that you can personalize for the person that is buying, right?
Yeah, man. Again, you just have to know the process. You have to know what happens after the prospect has paid, how he can pay. Can he pay 2 times, 3 times? You just have to know the process, and then how can you know it? Just by doing it a lot of times. You just throw a job 1,000 times. You do 1,000 sales calls. You do 1,000 reps or whatever. That's how you get good.
Gabriel, top 3 things, the worst mistakes you can do during a sales call.
3 worst mistakes during the
Yeah.
sales call.
Yeah.
I think like number 1, like arguing.
Arguing.
You never want to argue with the prospect. You never want to be like in fight mode. Second thing is always try to be aware to handle the right objection. And I think this is what I personally did wrong a lot of times, is that when I pushed the person on the wrong thing. How it works in reality, like imagine if you are in a shop and like somebody has a shirt and you have a boy, let's say you have a baby boy and somebody has a short, baby girl short, and he's like, hey, why you don't want to buy it? You're like, hey, I have a boy. Okay, but here's a quick discount, you can get 50% off. Will you buy it? No, I have a boy. Yeah, but you will get 50% off and 2 socks extra. And it's because you're handling the wrong objection. It's the same moment. Prospect is saying, hey, I want to think about it. And you're like, hey, let's buy. But you're handling it the wrong way. Because he's thinking maybe he doesn't see the value. Maybe he's a little bit fearful. Maybe he logistically doesn't have the money, right? So be always...
So what would you do? Would you tell them like wait for the girl to arrive? What would you say in that?
What I would do in that situation, I would say, hey, that ain't no problem. Would you be open to explore good collection that we have for boys collection? Would you be open to checking out boys collection? And the third thing, not being confident to sometimes step over the line. So what I mean by that is that sometimes you, and it's specifically for our industry, if you're talking about selling digital marketing services, coaching services, some kind of other type of digital services, that sometimes people just leave the people too quick and then they never reach out to them. But I heard...
What do you mean by this?
What they mean by this is that they just try 1 or 2, 3 times. The person says, I want to think about it. They just leave them on the call, out of the call. You can be more persistent, you can get to the real objection, and even if they go out of the call, you should still be following up, right?
Isn't that pushy?
It is, but it's the thing that how can you know how fast is the car if you don't test the brakes, like if you don't test the gas, right?
Yeah.
So always be willing to like push yourself to know the line. And important thing about sales is that if you talk about marketing, like let's be honest, 99 of the people of the businesses once in a year or once in 2 years will have the day when they will feel like, shit, I need more clients. So that's why you always have to be on top of mind, because it's a good thing I heard, it's not a no, it's a, not yet. If it doesn't show buyer signals, then your process should be a little bit different. If the first thing that he says to you, hey man, I look at your website, I look at your work, I already know guys what you do, I spoke with one of your previous clients, just tell me how we will work, I'm ready to go. Then you're not going through the script, that would ignite him, that would trigger him. Just get to the point and start cooperation.
Just skip all the script.
Yeah. Then it's different, right? Because you have to understand who you're speaking to, right? If he's super turned, he's ready, then it's a different conversation. So with the girl, be your brother, sister, it's like whatever. You have to know you have to know who you're speaking to make the sale, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And also, it's funny because me and Gabriel, we go way back. He actually, like, I was a little bit younger, but he actually sold me a product that I didn't fully buy. That was really funny. And the way he did it, you remember that?
Yeah, I remember. I collected.
The way he did it, he asked me so many questions that he just made me sell it to myself. I mean, obviously, I still wanted to buy the product. It wasn't like something completely random. But at that point, he was just like the salesman, and I was the customer in that position, right? And Gabriel just asked me like so many questions that he made it completely clear how that would benefit me, the purchase, right? And he made me made money in like what, an hour, right?
Yeah.
Hour and a half. Just made a quick sale just from being a good talker, just from having that clarity. And it's still funny to this day that that's how we met.
Yeah,
it's a really like solid story. It's a great example because I didn't even know too many things about sales, but yeah, it worked really well.
Yeah, 100%. And I would comment on that. It's not about like good talker. That's one thing, but most important being a good listener, right? Because there's even the thing, speak to talk, like listen to talk ratio. You always have to speak less than you talk within sales call. Yeah.
And you mentioned once that it's always better to ask something than to say something.
Right. Yeah.
Could you expand on that?
Yeah. What goes out of your mouth it's trash. What comes out of prospect mouth is treasure. People think that if you're a salesperson, everything that you say it's you're trying to sell me. If I say to you, Rainer, these are the best quality. It fits you. You're thinking, oh yeah, he's probably trying to sell me. But if I ask you, hey, what do you think? How do you think these fits you? And you say, oh, it's good. Then you said it, not me, and that's more powerful. So if you want to say something to a person, always think of terms of statements, not question. So for example, if somebody is thinking to go to, let's say, try this strategy that it's not good, just ask, what do you feel like can be an issue with this strategy? Not say it, but ask, so he can explain it to himself. That's more powerful to the person, to the prospects, anyone. Super, super important.
Yeah, I noticed this a lot with salespeople. There's like a couple of things that they do, and this is one of them, really. What about you, Antoine? What are the things that you noticed?
About salespeople?
Yeah, about successfully selling.
The best salesmen, they sell the result or what you're gonna get from the product/service. And one very good strategy that I never had seen before was, during this one company, what they do, they have the first sales call, and during the sales call they sell great service, right? So they sell the highest potential result you might get. And
which company?
One company I know. Okay. And so they sell this one potential best result. So imagine, let's say you take my service, I sell it to you or to Gabriel, right? I sell you my service, and during the sales call, I'm telling you, yeah, this can potentially bring you in 10 million, right? And it could potentially bring in 10 million if all the cards align correctly. But then after you purchase the service, let's say for 100K or whatever the price of the service is, after this, there's an onboarding call. They lower the expectations of the client, the client that paid. So they lowered the expectations of the client. And this is really actually, from my perspective, this is very smart. They lowered expectations, and how they do that is by letting the client know that by base, which is logical, if you're the business owner, Gabriel, right? You're the business owner, you paid me 100K to make 10 million. If you're not going to do anything, there's not going to be any 10 million with any of the services, right? I can film you 1 million video clips, right? Which would make you go viral, but if there's no value provided from yourself, it's just not going to go viral, right? If you don't sell your product, if you don't do the back end things, it's just not going to go viral. I wouldn't say I'm trying to implement this because I'm making sure that actually during the sales calls, or sales meetings that I have with potential clients, I'm trying to explain to them that, hey, this is approximately the results that you might be able to get. and usually after it's still the same energy level I give my prospect. And in this case scenario, it was like you bring them up here, you lower their expectations, and let's say Gabriel now makes 5 million. That's still better than what the onboarding call was about, that you might be able to make 0 if you don't do anything.
Yeah.
What do you think about these two scenarios? So there's company A that's keeping the energy the same level, and company B that's rising the energy to then lower the energy.
Yeah, totally. Like, which one is better, right? I would kind of have to take a look at like the numbers. Like if at the end of the day your goal is to make more money, and let's say the first example of a person who is hyping up the people, getting more people inside because of their sales process, because they're all promising, if at the end of the day there's more cash for the company, then it is working, right? If there's different criteria, how many people refer, how many people stay longer, how many people buy again, then that's again a different criteria, where the second one, where the expectation would be like differently presented, it would be again different, right? We have to take, like, it's not like a one-way answer which is better. It depends on what are you looking at. If you want to make more money, then the thing that will get you more clients is the thing that's working. If you want to make more clients stay, then that's again like different metric. But it's always to, like, the best thing ever, it's oversell, over deliver. But that's not always so easy to do.
Exactly.
Right. But it's like, always from one side to the other side. If you don't oversell, then people can take your service and then they can get the value, right? But if you oversell and then again you don't kind of deliver the service, then it's again bad. So it's a three with two sides.
It's funny because probably the best companies, they oversell, right? The lower companies, they might not do all that overselling, they still do a good job, right? But the best companies, they oversell. They might do the same job, but they're the best because they oversell, right? They get more clients on board, right? Is that the case?
Then again, where do you draw the line, right? Do you even draw the line?
I think it comes down to experience, because if you haven't done the things you say you're gonna do, how are you gonna say that let's do this? Yeah, you need to have either you need to have proof, or you need to really know that you're gonna do that. Because if you don't, you're gonna have starting just bad reviews. I think it's the worst case, the reputation.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, 100%.
Okay, Gabriel, what's the one advice or one wish to the viewers that you would like them to know?
Yeah, I think it's more a wish to myself. Just do what you need to do every day, and that's how you will find happiness. That's how you'll find a way. Just do every day the thing that you know that you need to do, and you know what those things are, and you know what you don't need to do. So don't do those as well. And I will have this as a reminder to keep on pushing and every day to become my best self.
And one question you will give to the next speaker on our podcast.
Let's say it's Jakobs. For Jakobs, I would like to ask, like, website. It's a super competitive niche. There are a lot of people from third world countries who are working day and nights who can get websites for pennies. How do you compete in a saturated market and how you can price premium? That's what I would want to ask. And the question to the other guy, if we talk about politics, is the politics game rigged, or it's not? Is there? Why do you think it's important for us to vote? And yeah.
Well, he's not gonna tell you if it's rigged, but that's it for the podcast. And thank you guys for watching, and tune in.
Politics aren't rigged.